What person has gone the furthest with the least amount of talent? The Salt Bae Dude. He had one viral video, made it onto multiple talk shows, and has just become a big dick with a massive ego. He made it onto the turf with the teams during the celebration after the FIFA World Cup. I forgot about that. And he took the cup to try and take a picture, right? I remember him trying to get a picture with Messi and Messi just had a "who the fuck are you" expression on his face. Came here to say this. That guy is like a one-trick pony that life accidentally mistook for a dressage champion or something. Makes me double mad because his rise to fame made me feel something that I never wanted to feel, that I owe Guy Fieri an apology. But he didn't do anything wrong. But because his hair looks like he was electrocuted while drinking Mountain Dew, people act like we need to saw his head off and put it on the internet. Shane Torres. John Montague, 4th Earl of Sandwich. Excerpt from his Wikipedia page. Sandwich retired in 1782. Despite holding a number of important posts during his career, Sandwich's incompetence and corruption were legendary, inspiring the saying, "Seldom has any man held so many offices and accomplished so little." He did invent the lunchtime favorite meal though. Nah, his butler invented it. All Earl 4 did was ask for food he could hold in one hand while he played cards. The butler's name? Tom Subway. Coincidence? Look up Warren Harding as well. He boned a ton of mistresses and did and cared about nothing else. Basically outsourced management of the presidency to his wife, project leader Florence, and sold the GVT out to his cronies in an unheard of degree. Even for back then, the teapot scandal was the least of his problems. Harding was a pretty handsome devil. One of the reasons he got the 1920 nomination was the women vote. As it was the first presidential election in which they could vote, his handlers wanted to appeal to the newly enfranchised female vote, and it did help him. He died while in office, and that brought us Calvin Silent Cal Coolidge, a man of very few words. Famous Cal quote, "After all, the chief business of America is business." Catch me outside girl. Edit. Seems a lot of people are happy this is a common answer. Truth be told, as am I. Edit 2. There's a lot of people saying she has a song called Gucci Flip Flops, and as a person who's not into materialism, this makes me dislike her even more. Lol. More like Drive. Phil. Oh, you have this problem? Have you tried not having that problem? Standing ovation from the audience. I came here for help. Drive. Phil. And you. How dare you come here and question me on my TV show? Something like that. Drive. Phil is a narcissist. A malignant one. His blowhard personality is unbearable. My boss. This person's boss. I confirm it. I'm his boss. Can confirm, I have no talent. The CEO of Facebook himself? Most people's bosses. Kardashians and TikTokers like Charli D'Amelio and Addison Rae. Rule 1. Be attractive. Rule 2. Don't be unattractive. Rule 3. If not attractive, get massive amounts of plastic surgery to become attractive. Right, Kylie? Kylie is gonna be so mad when she reads this. Danielle Bregoli. The Kardashians. The cast of Jersey Shore, beside Pauly, because he actually DJs, and all the teen moms. You could just do a blanket statement. 99% of reality TV people. There are talented reality shows like Top Chef. There are talented people on lots of competition reality shows. Those are totally different from documentary reality though. DJ Khaled. I used to believe that until I heard him play the guitar that Bob Marley's family gifted to him. That dude shreds. Holy shit, that's hilarious. I didn't know what I was expecting. But it wasn't that. He has identical guitar skills to my 7-year-old who has literally never attempted to practice the guitar. 90% of social media influencers. I'll add the other 10%. I'm surprised nobody has said Kim Kardashian yet. She's a billionaire now. There have been already false on-paper billionaire claims in that family. I would take all information about them with a big rock of salt. Well, they don't have to be actual billionaires to have gone far. Even if they only have 500 million, that's still a massive success, for a group that 99% of us still just know as famous for being famous, with some knowing it was initially sparked by a sex tape. James Corden. He isn't funny. He never was. He isn't quick, witty or observant. He has poor timing. I just don't get it. Even shit comedians like Michael McIntyre are at least high energy or something that can engage a crowd. Edit Gavin and Stacey is unfunny pure shit. Never forget when Jimmy Kimmel asked Corden to name 2 cameramen on one of his games, and Corden couldn't even do that. I'd be curious to see other hosts answer that question. On the one hand, it seems rude considering they're 20 feet away from him every day. On the other hand, there's hundreds of employees on those shows and hosts usually talk to the show runners if it's something about the set. I know Conan used to talk to the crew during his late night shows, and Eric Leno would too, but it's also not like he's saying they have to be friends, just know their names. I worked in a retirement home as a cook. While I could tell you all of the dining service staff names, I could have also told you the names of people from security, ADEM, nursing, custodial, maintenance, front desk. I also knew the names of all of our vendors. Trump, hands down. People say to me all the time, Donald, how do you have so little talent and skills? I've never met anyone as useless as you. And I say to them, well, this is just how I am. Some people have to work for things, but not me. I'm probably the most talentless person in the world right now. That's just how I am. And you know, it's always been like that. These things just come naturally to me. And really, I have to say I've got some of the most talentless people working with me too. Tremendously talentless people, really. I talk to all kinds of people and they all say they've never met a team as talentless as mine, and I mean, you can't have an administration that does what we do with anybody else. They just can't do it. They can't do it. I mean, really, it's remarkable. Remarkable stuff what we're doing. Wow. That's fucking hilarious. Any of the royal family. They're just some random people. Talentless random people. The fucking artist who taped a banana to a wall and sold it for $150K. He's a talented con artist. People buying garbage art deserve to be conned honestly. What if I told you it's a way to launder money? Steiny from the Nelk Boys. Release the pod. Chicken nugget look in fuck. Dora the Explorer. She uses a talking map, has such a hard time making decisions that she has to ask kids to help her, and keeps getting stopped by a sneaky swiper. But he's not even that sneaky. I see him coming every time. I don't understand how she hasn't gotten lost yet. Carmen Sandiego seethes hearing that name. You see him because you have a better Overwatch angle. She's either looking ahead, or looking out of the TV at you. Kyle, that's right, she's looking at you. Me, in the future hopefully. Same, I'm annoying and have no talent. Where's my success? Lol. Steven Seagal. I hear he trains law enforcement to kick people in the throat. He also knows a lot about helicopters. Edit for adding context. I've been flying helicopters for 37 years. The Island Boys. At first I read this as The Lonely Island, and I was like, the fuck you say? Lol. Then I reread it. I have no idea who these guys are and do not care enough to look it up based on the comments below. I looked them up so you don't have to. Can confirm it's not worth it. No clue who this is, so googled. Top comment on it is when your pineapple rots and starts singing. Salt Bay deserves a mention here. Top answer is about Salt Bay at the moment of writing this. Catch me outside chick. She'd loaded now. Quick Google search says she's sitting on $50 million. 6 years after her Dr. Phil episode. Most of it is probably from of. I remember something about the day she turned 18 she posted an of, and it made some crazy number like 6 mil in the first day. Bella Porch for her stupid head bobbing tic-tics. I hate how she tries to justify her success with pity-me statements such as I was bullied growing up. Like weren't us all? She doesn't have to justify shit. She didn't cheat to get ahead. She acted like a goof and it got 60 million views. She kept doing it and it kept getting views. Then she got into music videos and brand deals. I'm not saying she's talented or deserves the success, but people are extremely willing to give her attention for whatever she's doing. No reason to dislike her for that. I once heard Michael Bolton is a no-talent ass clown, so I'll go with him. Why don't you go by Mike instead of Michael? No way, why should I change? He's the one that sucks. What is it you say you do around here? Lest we forget. DJ Khaled. My favorite was his appearance in Hot Ones where he quit like 2 wings and then accused the host of having easier wings than he did, then follow that up by refusing to admit that he quit. Just because I stopped doesn't mean that I quit. Wow, that is a really, really dumb thing to say. Seems legit. It's worth a watch. Hot Ones. Billionaires who started with inherited wealth in. Yoko Ono. My granddaughter had a solo in her high school choir last year. The concert was about all kinds of different music. She got to sing a small Yoko Ono song. She literally walked up to the microphone and screamed 3 times. That was it. Lol. Sounds like she nailed it. She did nail it. She gets it from her grandma. Jared Fogle, the Subway guy. He seemed like a nice guy. Did I miss any important news about him? He started his career with a mild cholesterol problem, and ended it because of a child molestal problem. Masterfully underrated. Nick Cannon. He is horrendously untalented and somehow has a gazillion dollars. Can date and impregnate anyone he pleases. And stole Whose Line Is It Anyway and made an insult version of it that reinforces racism and stereotypes for our entertainment. I like Drumline. But yeah. I just do not get it with him. What's the first thing you'd do if you came into stupid money? Not tell a single person. Lol. Needs to be higher up. 1. Tell nobody. Don't just hire an advisor. Hire 3, each in a different jurisdiction, so they can check each other's work and report malpractice to you while giving you second opinions. Also hire 3 lawyers. Same principle applies as they handle whatever contracting you need. Have the lawyers watch the financial advice too. Lastly, hire a couple private detectives to watch the watchers. Rotate them between various targets regularly to reduce the likelihood of collusion. Pay everyone good salaries to keep them content. Don't be a dick to your staff. These guys have the greatest chance of fucking you over. So treat them carefully. And it's gone. Only my parents cause they've given me everything and for fucking sure I'm gonna spoil them. Then I'd quit my jobs and go to school. I would probably do the school thing too, even though I'm 42. But I do love my job, and I have faith in our products, so I would probably also try to buy into the company I now work for, and become a silent partner or so, and I should probably choose some kind of business-oriented education. Follow that Reddit guide that gets posted every time this question gets asked. Buys random stock, it goes 100x but you forget about it, count as stupid money? Depends. Did you buy $1 worth? Or $10? Oh, I'm guessing it probably isn't the latter. Depends how much the stock cost initially. Yay, that one lawyer's comment about winning the lottery, right? I don't even know the link, but it's easy to find. Just look it up, lol. Every time the Powerball gets really high and I play, I look for that post. Well, I just won Powerball last night. Hello, new best friend. Haha. Hi dad, you may remember my mom from the one night stand a random number of years ago. Can I borrow some money? Somebody probably used that line at one point or another. Hire a financial advisor. I could see myself being real stupid with stupid money, so an advisor couldn't hurt, lol. Financial advisors make money when you make money. It's in their best interest to do well by you, and given that they do it for a living, they should know far more about the topic than most people. I work in finance. This is the way. Wealth management companies make a living keeping rich people rich, in ways poor people don't realize is possible. You're an overnight millionaire billionaire? Cool. Want to stay that way? Hire an advisor. They're not cheap, but they're cheaper than not having financial advice. 100%. 2 chicks at the same time. That's it? If you had $1 million, you'd do 2 chicks at the same time? Damn straight. I always wanted to do that. Man. And I think if I were a millionaire I could hook that up. 2 'cause chicks dig dudes with money. Well, not all chicks. Use the stupid money to make smart investments. Wash the cum out of it and buy something better to come into. Fucking, thank you. I thought I was the only one. Buy stupid amounts of wild land and preserve it. Like a wildlife rehab but for wild land? Basically, Earth rehab. Hi Steve. Fun Bloodborne 2. And keep the only copy of the PC port to yourself. I didn't know black metal people were into gaming these days. Metalheads are nerds. Drive into the woods so I am as far away as possible from another human being and then yell what the fuck at the top of my lungs. Then think about what I'm going to do with all that money. Then I'd ask my really closest friends what their dream is and make it come true. Like an own gym or recording studio, etc. To everyone else I'd be the same. Just on vacation more often. I sort of did this once. Well, the screaming part. I was at a baseball game and won the 5,050 draw. 25k. I didn't really know how to deal with the emotion at first. So I just screamed as loud as I could, lol. People around me just looked at me like WTF mate. Until they realized what happened and then they started giving me high fives, lol. Pay off my debt and then buy a house somewhere that weed is legal. Oregon is a beautiful state. My answer was to buy property in Oregon. Rest. I'm burnt out and have been working for years without a break, living paycheck to paycheck. Use it to rescue homeless pets. I'd definitely set aside some space for rescue guinea pigs. Bunch of hookers and cocaine. And blackjack. Buy a place with a few acres. Make a fire pit, a fire lab, a large area to burn things. Would be great. Then I'd spend some time and money helping less fortunate people, probably with many veteran charities. I love arson. Tell me more about fire. Obviously, I'd pay off all my debt. You'd be stupid not to. My buddy won $25 million and refused to pay off his mortgage because he didn't want to pay the early payment fees. 10 years later, he lives in the same house, though he also owns a house in Europe, and he just bought a Tesla after his 15-year-old Corolla died. Doesn't get much cheaper than. Stupid money is $500K plus to me, so I'd put a healthy down payment on a $300K house, probably $200K, and build my dream garage in the back with a few classics. Having maybe $50,000 left, I'd split that off to my 3 kids for starter funds for a first car and such. Also, it'd still work. People's first reaction is to quit, and I don't think most 6-7 figure individuals quit their jobs when they hit said figures. Yeah, there's a lot of ambiguity in the terminology here. Personally, I define stupid money as enough money that I no longer have any good reason to care if the way I'm spending it is stupid or not. So $1 billion or $2, $500,000, I would describe in terms more along the lines of financially comfortable. And there's quite a few categories between that and stupid money. First thing I'd do, literally, is pack a suitcase and move into a hotel. I would then sell everything else: house, car, appliances, clothes, furniture, stuff in drawers, stuff in closets, stuff on walls, all those things I bought from Walmart and Kohl's to get by. Then I'd start from scratch and buy a small but well-built condo. Then one chair, carefully chosen. Then one table. Then one bed, again carefully chosen. And so on, getting just what I need but no more. Quality every time, because cost just isn't a constraint. Buy my dog everything she wants. Oh Fido, that's a Lamborghini, are you sure? Good boy. Buy an RV and just go anywhere I want with no strings for how long or far I can go. House car bikes, I honestly wouldn't tell anyone, but there would be signs. I want to know what a house car bike looks like. Buy a bunch of houses outright so there's no mortgage. Rent them out at affordable prices that cover the cost of bills and nothing more. I've been homeless, and if I could help people not be homeless, I absolutely would. Cry, because this means I can settle so many bills and finally take a much-needed vacation, and wouldn't have to worry about food or medical expenses. Hire a team of lawyers and financial advisors. I'd educate it. You don't need it. Buy my partner out of his share of our house, renovate it the way I want it, rather than how he has insisted, and fill it with a lot more cats. If he wants to argue about it, he knows where the door is. End of tether. Don't judge me. Assuming the normal stuff is excluded, like lawyer, estate planning, debt payment, I would do something frivolous like spend thousands on a game and microtransactions. Or some random positive reinforcement. Someone holds the door, give them a gift card. They have good manners. Gift card. Use a turn signal properly. Gift card. Kids wearing helmets biking. Gift card. Demonstrate unselfish spatial awareness. Gift card. Or buy a shitty house and host some paintball events in it before tearing it down. Leave. Make sure my family and as many friends as possible are financially secure. Then treat everyone. If I'm still rich after that, then I'd look to get rid of most of it by backing progressive activism in my area. Leave with my family overnight, and not tell a soul. We leave our house and belongings, move far away and start a new life quietly. Replace all my dishware and carpets, and buy an ungodly amount of pizza rolls. Let's go pizza rolls. Not tell a soul. Quit my job and start consulting. Get a lot of overseas clients. Be constantly traveling for business. For the first 2 weeks I'd live like I was in a rap video. Hookers, champagne, jet skis and a giant yacht. After that I would start buying land and houses in beautiful places all over the world. Then I would just house hop with my private jet. Hire financial advisor to make my money more money. Tell absolutely nobody I came into money. Quit my job and pursue my true passions. Quit my job and take a nap. What's stupid money? What's not? YouTube Premium. What was a time in which a date was going well, but the other person ruined it? I was having a great time and then my date didn't show up. I went to a speed dating event once where none of the guys showed up. It just turned into a whole girls' night out with free drinks. Imagine being the one guy who shows up. It's heaven or hell depending on the type of guy you are. Haha. The owner of the bar asked his friend to come as a favor and he just mingled with everyone a little at a time and eventually we were all just taking shots. It was a pretty great night. They had a redo and I dressed kind of May and then the men actually did come and I was so self-conscious of my outfit I couldn't even enjoy the event and was very awkward. Haha. Good times. You do you. Oh. I did that night. We had dinner and all was going well, and we were wandering down the dark sidewalk engaged in conversation, when she walked straight into a signpost that neither of us noticed. I let out one nervous laugh before I could stop it, and she accused me of engineering the event for my amusement. One of my first dates with my partner, he did the same thing. Walked right into a signpost neither of us saw. I looked over to see what just happened and accidentally tripped over the curb and fell. We laughed so hard. Going on 4 years together now. You might say we literally fell in love. That's adorable. Just be careful of any kids you might have. They will have the clumsy gene. I totally would have walked into the signpost, and would have laughed at myself for it. My date doing the same would have been a sign of compatibility. That she couldn't laugh at herself means you probably dodged a bullet from M's. Uptight. I farted by accident on a boyfriend once. I laughed. He didn't. Not compatible. I moved on. Happened twice with 2 different dudes. 1. I met off a site, he was nice, if a little awkward, and he couldn't help but show me his Twitch stream gameplays for 25 minutes straight, watching me expectantly, which might have been okay for a conversation starter actually. I love gaming but there's only so much of watching someone else's stream with no funny commentary or context one can handle before mentally checking out. Second was a guy who we had some playful banter before our date and he asked me about my kinks so I told him I liked being choked. When we met up in the parking lot, dude immediately puts me in a WWE chokehold in broad daylight presumably thinking my panties were gonna drop right then and there. I can assure you, they did not. I'm sorry that happened to you, but this is the best comment I've read. Did you go out with Hulk Hogan on a first date? At least if he was I would have had something to be impressed about. I'm still astounded he had the audacity to go for it with zero warning or indication that he was even going to touch me. For context for anyone else, this dude was over 6 feet and I'm pretty much 5 foot nothing with my shoes on. After he let go of me, he gave me the grin TM and suggested we go back to my place, since surely I was hot and bothered. Never seen a dude look so proud of nearly choking out a munchkin since. Did you just split after that or did you continue THE date? Bruh, I just imagine some girl rolling up to a mall parking lot and instantly getting her code when she steps out the car. Watch out, watch out, watch out. She got jealous because I was nice to the waitress. So she wanted you to be rude or something? Lol. She thought me being nice was me flirting. You said please and/or thank you, right in front of her? You dog. Literally went on a date last night and was going really well until dessert when he said, God, I can't wait to put kids in you. We hadn't even talked about kids at that point. There are so many steps before that. Oh gosh. Ugh, so gross. I once had a boyfriend. We had dated on and off for years. I was adamant that I didn't want cool to have children and he basically said, don't care, I'm going to put a baby in there, while pointing at my gut. Gave me the big ick and our relationship permanently ended soon after. My first boyfriend was like this towards me too. Was disgusting. I was only 16 FFS. She told me she had pretty bad anxiety being in public and asked if she could make me dinner instead. We went for a walk prior to the dinner so we could see if we wanted to do the dinner after. She was super stoked for dinner after our walk. Dinner was great and she asked if I wanted to watch a movie. About 20 minutes into the movie she started nudging into me and initiated making out. After starting to really get into the heavier side of things I felt something tap my shoulder. I am on top of her at this point, I turned my head quickly as it startled me, and I am met eye to eye with a 45-year-old boy who then asks me if he can have a cup of water. His mom starts screaming at him to go back to his room, which he runs as fast as he can back to. She starts apologizing and tries to reinitiate it. I told her to give me a minute, got a cup of water and called for him to come back out, which he did. I handed him the cup, he took a drink and said, "Thank you," and ran back into his room. I was pretty riled up at the idea she had her kid there without saying anything, and screamed at him for asking for something so basic as water. I left after that and vowed to never be that parent with my own kids. Which begs the question, who was with the boy while she was away with you? Elephant gun caliber. Was the bullet you dodged? I never asked this question as I ghosted after I left. That is a perspective I didn't consider. Did she leave him alone at home for the hour plus we were out? Damn. I hope Hess okay. It's been almost 8 years. My mom left me alone all the time. Look at me now, Mom. I am still a failure. I think it says a lot about their relationship that the boy asked you, a literal stranger, and not his own mother, for some water. That crushes me to think about. He started loudly talking about his kinks. In public. Yikes. Was public humiliation one of them? Nope. Heavy BDSM stuff. He was a dom. Edit. Allegedly. Not a proper one if that's how he acts around it. Since bloody 50 Shades, there's been a plague of self-styled domly dom men who don't actually have the first clue how to navigate any of the etiquette of that scene. They're like big, dumb, horny, clumsy bulls in china shops, just wearing a tie with their shirt sleeves rolled up and attempting to be aloof and dominating at the same time. I was out with a guy having a lovely time, and he made a comment about a copper bangle bracelet I was wearing. I told him that it was really special to me. I got it during my semester abroad in South Africa from a local. It was a solid copper band, but in the middle there was copper wire woven around. He asked to take a closer look, so I took it off and handed it to him. He then snapped it in half, thinking the copper wire was a spring. I was visibly upset, and he said that it was a sign that I needed to move on from my trip and stop living in the past. I never spoke to him again. Wow, no accountability. It's a CGN. Yeah, a sign to block him and get away as soon as possible. What a piece of shit. I was on a date with a newly divorced woman. We were having a nice dinner and getting to know each other before it turned awkward. She didn't tell me she had kids until we were eating dinner, and she began moving things way too fast. Talking about me meeting her kids right away, moving in together, etc. This was on our first date, and I didn't want to be anybody's step-parent, much less get to Holly so quickly. We finished our dinner and parted ways amicably after a heart-to-heart, and there were no hard feelings. She was simply getting carried away with the excitement of being single and going out with new people. She agreed that she needed to let the ink dry on her divorce a little longer and take her time before introducing new people to her children. And we fell out of contact soon after. 0 to Holly in one date. Lol. I mean, it was flattering and all. But yikes. Like the first 80% of it was a nice, awkward but cute first date. Then at the end she pulled out her phone and started fighting with people on Twitter and narrating all of it. It was a long drive back. Well, it is not Twitter unless you are picking fights and seeing who gets ratioed first. But honestly, who cares about Twitter that much? Chronically online people do. Anytime I catch myself moving that direction with Reddit, I've learned that it's best to cut myself off from all social media for a week to cool that shit down. Because momentum plays a huge role in it, at least for me. What was she supposed to do? Just wait to tell someone on the internet they were wrong? Not me. But a female friend of mine was just telling me about her most recent OkCupid date. Her description went something like this. Everything was going really great. He is smart and funny, and easy to talk to. He seems like a great dad to his kids and gets along okay with his ex, always a good sign. Just really down-to-earth guy, and it seemed like there was some nice chemistry. After dinner we decided to go have a drink at a fun little bar about a mile away. We got in his car to drive over there. He kissed me, which was nice. Then he took out his penis. A nice guy on the outside, but turns into a total asshole in private in his desperation to get laid. Which ironically enough will stop him getting laid. It's seriously like an ancient Greek curse, where no one wins. Women will dress more revealingly and feel more sexually comfortable if you stop acting like a creep, but they just can't stop acting like creeps. So we all lose. He took it out. He took what out? Not me, but a friend of mine. This was when we were around 22. 23 years old. She had a first date with a guy. They were meeting at a restaurant for dinner. She gets there and sees not only him but 2 other people at the table. Turns out he invited his parents to their date. So she, of course, excused herself to go to the bathroom and then just bounced. Talk about awkward. I have never laughed so hard as when she recounted her evening. This reminds me of a girl I liked at university. She was in a choir and was selling tickets to a recital. So I bought two. She asked me who the other one was for, and I answered honestly, not thinking too much of it, because I am an idiot, I guess. My mother. On the day of the event we sat and listened to her sing with the choir. Then at the intermission I went by myself to find her. But she was nowhere to be seen. It turned out that she thought I was bringing my mother to meet her. So she feigned illness and hid. What actually happened was that the accompanying string quartet featured none other than my cousin. And my mother wanted to hear her play. If the girl was watching from her hiding place, then she likely would have seen us chatting to the cellist, with no idea what was going on. That's hilarious. You talked about it with her afterwards? We went out a few times in the end. But it did not go anywhere. What's the brokest thing you've ever done? When I was damn near homeless, literally had no money for food, and food stamps said I made too much to be assisted. B.S. I didn't have any underage kids, so I didn't qualify to be helped by a food pantry, and the only other one I knew would only let you visit once a month. I would find fast food receipts on the ground, and I would call corporate. I would always say the staff was super nice and they accommodated me very well, but my food was probably mixed up with someone else's order and I lived far away, so I couldn't go back on the same day. I would either receive coupons for free food in the mail or they would put my name down and I could just go to any of the fast food places in the city and get food. The city I lived in was pretty big and most of the restaurants were run by independent or different franchises, so they never really caught on to me. I once got 4 free meals from Chick-fil-A for 1 receipt. I'm doing a lot better now, so I promised myself I would never do it again. It's okay that you did this. It's absolutely not something you should feel guilty about. Food is a right and accessing it can be a lot harder than people think. I always told them the staff was really nice and it was busy. I didn't want anybody to get in trouble because I was hungry. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you ate. It sounds like you live in the States and I'm appalled that we can be such a rich country and let people go hungry. I'm so sorry you went through that, and it sounds like you were very resourceful. In the early 2000s, the Garment District in Manhattan had mitzvah tanks. It was basically a mobile synagogue for the devout to come handle religious observation during the workday with a rabbi. Turns out they had bagels in there. I was just starting out my career, I was 21 or so, and money was tight. I would go in 3x a week and get bagels. If no one was looking, I would stuff an extra into my suit pocket. I don't at all look Jewish and almost no one from my part of the world is Jewish. The rabbi approached me after a month and I told him I saw free food in a house of God and just figured since I am not a bad guy, God wouldn't be too mad. Rabbi laughed and said something like, from now on say hello. You don't have to act like a thief trying not to get caught. In a few months when money was less tight, I would stop by at lunch and chat with the rabbi. It was a simpler time. There are Jews all over the world, and as I'm sure the rabbi told you, we're more than willing to help someone in need where we can. If you need the bagel, it's yours. One time I said something to him like, I'm not Jewish, right? And he went, do you want to be good to people you love? I say, well yeah. He goes, you're Jewish enough for me. I got a kick out of it. This is how religion should go. Absolutely made me smile. What a lovely guy. Synagogues usually have what are called mensch funds that we use to help spot each other financially in times of need. I am sure the rabbi would only have asked for your company or maybe some synagogue help if he thought you had to pay back. But usually they don't. I found out later the catering for the bagels was donated by a few patrons from their delis. It really was a pretty awesome experience looking back 20 years. Rabbi never asked for anything, except to stop trying to be a sneaky shoplifter for bagels that are literally free. Brokest and stupidest thing I did. I bought scratch tickets in hopes to win money to buy Christmas presents when I was 18. I didn't want anyone to think I had money problems at the time, so I spent $10 on a scratcher and won $500. I don't know how, but it was enough for car insurance and presents. Glad it worked for you. But if anyone is reading this and considering doing it, don't. You're most likely going to burn $10. Exactly. Like I said, I was an idiot. A lucky idiot. I'm just happy I've been able to make 6 digits now from 10 years ago. What do you do, and are you hiring by chance? Christmas miracle. Right there. Called in sick on Wednesday because I didn't have enough gas money to drive to work but one more time, which I waited till Thursday to do, because that was payday. I've done that. When I returned, my boss just silently handed me $20 and said, next time just ask me if you're that short. He was a quirky guy, and had some political views that are definitely old-fashioned, but he took good care of his employees. I had a boss spot me $100 to get my car inspected and renewed registration because he didn't want me to deal with fines or worse if I got pulled over for it. It's a shame he passed his company to his daughter. She's the reason I ended up leaving. I work at a summer camp and my boss is always getting us Starbucks and stuff or keeps offering food, but I felt weird accepting it. Stole food for my kids. Really ashamed, but I couldn't let them go to bed hungry. I 100% respect this. Same. I always echo the meme in my head. Remember kids, if you see someone stealing food, no you didn't. I locked eyes with someone pocketing food in their jacket in a grocery store once. I quickly turned my gaze away. I hope they understood that meant I wasn't saying shit, except to spouse just to tell someone. And they'd agree with me. Hope that person is doing well. Hid in a day-old Hostess bakery outlet dumpster. Shit was still packaged and just fine. My elderly mom would get so excited when we brought that stuff home. She had lived through the Depression and couldn't believe it was thrown out. Such a treat. Nothing wrong with dumpster diving. It reduces waste and is good for the environment. I know people who are middle class who do it as more of a political thing. Got any tips? Join online groups. My tips are defiantly out of date. But you should ask Starbucks workers when they put out the food because that shit is always good. Edit. I forgot the 11th commandment. This is so important. Always leave the dumpster tidier than you left it always. One set of rude dumpster sievers that make the store have to clean up your shot means the dumpster gets locked and potentially dozens of people lose a source of food. Always respect the dumpster, the employees, and if you can the managers. I knew guys that would spend time cleaning up and power washing the dumpsters of stores they got along with. Most of these stores are happy this food is going to people and are happy to cooperate with partners that help them keep things tidy. Keep in mind if we take the food it doesn't feed rats and mice and cockroaches. It's really a win if you can approach them professionally. My motorcycle headlight broke, so I started riding around with a flashlight in my mouth. True story, I was young, and very, very dumb. Couldn't at least tape it to the motorcycle? They were broke. Tape costs money. Bought a case of ramen noodles at the self-checkout at Walmart with 4 different debit cards that each had less than $1 on them. You can make partial payments at Walmart self-checkout and nobody has to know how broke you are. Me and my 3 kids ate for the next 2 days. Man, I'm so sorry. I feel this. Reminds me of the hardest times I had, no kids, but had a man-child at home, when grocery shopping day meant $10 for gas and $7 for food. We ate a lot of Endofnite rotisserie chickens, $1 mac and cheese with hot dog or zucchini or bell pepper, and potatoes. So much potatoes. The memory I hate the most was having $5 to buy groceries for a few days, for myself and someone else. I got a ride to Winco and was able to buy 2 big russet potatoes, a small bag of shredded cheese, and a broccoli crown. The ex and I shared each potato, too, so we each got to eat half of a baked potato, twice. At one point our power got shut off and we were eating canned chili heated over the fireplace and buying $5 bundles of gas station wood every other day. I'm doing better now. But man, I don't miss clawing my way through the day and night just hoping for a miracle. At least I learned how to be frugal from that experience. But the rest is shame and trauma. Washed dirty clothes in the bathtub with dishwashing liquid. Couldn't afford quarters for the machine. I overheard my neighbor, thin walls, yelling at her boyfriend for not helping to pay for anything, while she was washing her clothes with dish soap in the bathtub, and it kept giving her UTIs and yeast infections. My partner and I were not well off but certainly not struggling, so I left a new container of laundry detergent next to her door for her. I hope it helped her. 1992. 22F divorced single parent 2F. Working part-time. Going to nursing school full-time. I was broke enough to qualify for food stamps, and back then they were actual paper. If you paid in food stamps, the store gave your change to you in paper food stamps and coins. Every day on the way home I would stop at a couple stores to buy something for $1.05 or $1.10, so they would give me the maximum in coin change. I would use the $3, $4 for gas to get to school and work the next day. Did that for a few months to get through a hard time. I did this as a kid so I could get the $1.50 to go to the public pool. I was subletting a place and needed bus fare to get to work that day. So I searched every couch cushion and coat pocket in the hopes that I could find enough to get there. I ended up finding a ton of pennies. So I paid the bus fare in pennies. I was 30 cents short, but the bus driver just gave me a transfer and waved me in. The first customer of the day tipped me like $5 on their coffee, and I've never been so happy in my life. I had a bus driver call me out for being like 20 cents short for bus fare once after I had a rough night at work with pretty much $0 in tips. It was embarrassing and terrible. That sucks so bad. I've definitely had my share of rude drivers, but I think the fact I was holding up his morning run by feeding pennies into the slot a few at a time might be why he let me off the hook. Got a gym membership just for the shower when I was living in my car for 3-ish months at 22. I also did this for about 2 months years ago. I did manage to stay in great shape for a handful of years after though. Sold my plasma for grocery money. Okay. But that plasma kept my mom alive long enough to know she was going to have a granddaughter before she died from blood cancer. I'll always be thankful for plasma givers. I did it for Christmas gifts for my kids last year. It's really nice to hear I might have done more than a little good with my time. Kept me alive through cancer. Tie. Back in the 90s I wrote myself a check to cover me until payday. Kiting. Didn't know that was fraud till my bank had a chat with me. I never let it go that far. I just know it would take 3 days to clear, and payday was sooner. Nonetheless, it was a dangerous game. Used to be able to do that with checks, but now it's all same day usually or instantly, which gets rid of those fun times. I overdrafted my bank account on purpose, having just a couple of dollars left, buying a gift card, to make sure I'd have enough money to last me until the end of the week in case my bank cut me off. As a matter of fact, it was a February going into March. I got hit with virtually every bill I had to pay, without having a full month's pay. So, that was a little bit of a struggle until my next payday. This is kind of genius to be honest. Edit, I was thinking back to some of my overdrafts. 5 pending transactions? Of course the highest amount goes through first, and you're hit with $4.35 in fees. Criminal. It's so fucked up that a credit union in my state had a class action settlement with their members over the order they chose to process payment, highest pending to lowest pending. According to the FDIC, financial institutions should clear transactions in either a completely random order or an order received. Manipulating the transactions to maximize the client's fees is not a neutral approach. That being said, banks are gonna bank and most people don't know these things.